Welcome to the Travel Media Lab podcast. I'm your host, Yulia, an award-winning travel photographer and writer, entrepreneur, community builder, and a firm believer that every one of us can go after the stories we've always wanted to tell, with the right support, encouragement, and structure. I'm on a mission to help women storytellers everywhere break into and thrive in the travel media space. If you're ready to ditch your fears to the side, grow your knowledge and confidence, and publish your travel stories, you're in the right place. Let's go! Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're closing the 5th season of our podcast. And what an incredible season that was. I hope you enjoyed coming along on this journey with us. This season was very important to us because at the beginning of it, we changed our name. And as you can imagine, changing a name is a huge deal. We went from being called Genius Women to being called Travel Media Lab. And it was an important step to better reflect what we're focusing on in this community, getting your voice out there and your stories published, supporting you on this path, and hopefully inspiring you along the way. You know, my amazing podcast producer, Noelia Sanchez, shout out to you, Noelia. She keeps telling me that numbers don't tell the whole story, and I absolutely believe that. But still, our human brains love reflecting on numbers, and in this season, we've crossed over 15,000 downloads. And close to 7,000 people listen to our show. Wow, that is just incredible. I never thought when I started this podcast that that's the kind of impact and the kind of reach that our message and our platform and our podcast would get. I want to thank every single one of you who's been listening to our show and supporting us by sharing our podcast episodes and by leaving us reviews. Every single one of these things helped us get to these milestones. And what an honor and a privilege it has been for me to come and share and create this space with you. So thank you. Thank you so much. In this final episode of Season 5, I would like to look back and share with you a couple of wonderful moments we had on the podcast this season and celebrate our amazing guests. This season, we did a lot of interesting things. First and foremost, we started an NFT photography journey. And if you've been listening to this podcast this season, you know that somehow that reference to NFTs makes its way to almost every episode. That's how excited I am about the NFT photography space and its potential. And I shared with you my own entrance into NFTs in episode 51 and what I've learned from it so far in episode 56. So if that's something that you're considering dipping your toes in, I really, really encourage you to go back and listen to those episodes. There is a lot of information there. And I've learned a lot from being in this exciting space in the last couple of months. I do have those moments of doubt that say, okay, maybe my work is not good enough. But then I come back to myself and I look at my work and I look at my portfolio and all of the things that I've done over the years. And I say, no, Yulia, your work is great. And it just needs the right moment. And it just needs to be placed in front of the right person who will connect with it and who will want to collect it. This season, we also learned how to pitch Condé Nast Traveler magazine during an interview with Condé Nast Traveler Middle East editor-in-chief Sarah Khan in episode 49, which was the most popular episode of the season, by the way. So if you haven't already listened to it, definitely go check it out. Sarah gives so many insights and so many tips to anyone who wants to work with that magazine. So definitely check it out.
I think the things that stand out to me are just really strong local coverage of this region. So, stuff and we know Dubai really well because we're based in Dubai and in the UAE, but I want to hear more from Oman. I want to hear more from Jordan. I want to hear more from Egypt, Tunisia. So I just really thoughtful, nuanced stories, like the kinds of stories I like to write as a freelancer. I want to empower other people to write from, this entire region, and just, like focusing on the arts and the design and like, just entrepreneurship. And like, there's so much happening. It's such a dynamic, really exciting time to be in this part of the world. And I really want to showcase that as best as I can.
This season, we also explored who gets to be a writer with an incredible, thoughtful, and compassionate creator who I also call my friend. Her name is Ashley Halligan, and she's the founder of Pilgrim magazine. And in episode 50, we had probably one of the most soul-affirming conversations on this podcast to date. And she also talked a lot about Pilgrim magazine and how she started it, why she started it. And for anyone who is interested in working with Pilgrim, she also gave a lot of tips on how to approach pitching that magazine and developing stories for them. So definitely check that episode out.
We do have this misconception that you have to create constantly, all day, every day. You write or you paint or whatever your medium is. We get these narratives in our minds that we are not something because we think that we have to achieve X, Y, and Z, or we have to produce so much material, or we have to be given a particular accolade. And I just don't think that that's true. And I think those self-limiting beliefs they can be very devastating. You don't have to be published to call yourself a writer. You don't have to have an exhibit to call yourself a photographer. As long as you commit to your art in some capacity, you are that thing. And you can be many things.
This season, we also embarked on a successful Travel Media Bootcamp event in Texas, where 12 people joined us for 3 days of workshops, conversations, and media trip activities. And I was very excited to share parts of those conversations and parts of those insights and learnings that we had with you in episodes 52 and 53. And by the way, stay tuned. Paula, my travel public relations partner for this bootcamp and for our upcoming events, we're working on our next location. I can give you a little hint that it will be outside of the United States. So that's really exciting. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, go check out those 2 episodes, 52 and 53, where you can hear a little bit about how that whole trip and that whole conversation went.
If you manage to go to the destination by yourself, you can barely organize the trip the same way as I do it yourself. So you don't need me. You can reach and contact the stakeholders by yourself. You have far more flexibility. You can bring your plus one now here. There is less competition. You can contact me saying, hey, I am going to the destination, either you want me or not. You are talking from another point of view, right? Now you have the power. I am going to your destination. This is what I'd like to visit, and what can you offer? Or can you help me with the hotel? Or can you help me with a restaurant experience? Can you help me with a tour experience? And I'm like, okay, if you're going there by yourself, and I just have to manage to offer you this, and we'll still get credit of what you're doing, I'm listening. So that's one thing versus coming to me and pitching, okay, can you offer me a trip to Panama, or to any destination? And now I will have to bet you. But in this case, you're just going by yourself.
And of course, we also celebrated our dear Travel Media Lab community members in episode 57 with travel writer Hannah Foster-Roe, who just attended her first successful travel media conference and shared her learnings with us in her episode.
I think just because on a simple level, because I'd got more bylines under my belt, but also because I felt I'd grown more in confidence as well, and I felt more like I was still really scared going into it, but I felt like I had more of a right to be there, which is silly because I know exactly what you're going to say, that I would have had just as much a right to have been there in 2021 with less bylines. But I just felt more like I could talk from a place of experience and a place of just knowing myself better as well this year, and knowing better the sort of stories that excite me and inspire me, and just having a clearer idea of what I can offer someone and what stories I want to put out into the world.
And episode 61 with travel writer Ashley Brooks, who was just published at Condé Nast Traveler.
There's a power with surrounding yourself with people with the similar goal. Like it does, it's just kind of like a current that keeps you going a little bit. And there's been more than once in the last 18 months that I have been feeling, stuck, or like, it just, no pitches were coming back for a moment or whatever. And it was literally the group and people that I knew were keeping me accountable a little bit that kind of kept me going.
Congratulations to you both on your recent successes. It's been just so wonderful to watch you grow and become the wonderful, confident, beautiful creators that you are. What I'd like to leave you with this season, dear listeners, is this thought. More of our voices need to be out there. We live in a very precarious time. There's a lot of things that are happening around us in our communities, but also in the larger world that often make us feel disinspired, tired, frankly. And I believe that it's more important right now than ever before that more of our voices are out there, that we share our perspectives, that we share stories of people and places around the world, that we inspire others to be more open-minded, more open-hearted even. And all of that starts with you pitching your stories and creating your stories and believing that you have what it takes and having the confidence to be the creator, the storyteller that you want to be. It's just so, so, so important. It is critical, in fact. I think our missions right now are critical. I've just returned from the Women in Travel Summit conference ran by the amazing, wonderful community. And it was just such an incredible event where I led 2 travel journalism workshops. And I also met amazing women storytellers, travelers, and creators. And at that conference, one panelist said something that really struck a chord with me. And I just keep thinking about it ever since the conference. She said, "It's easier to break the rules when you're in charge." Wow. That just affected me so much, that sentence that she had. And that to me is another reason why more of us need to step into the light, need to lead conversations, lead communities, work with publications that we want to work with, and ensure that our voices are heard. There's no use in staying small. When you step into the light, when you go after the things that you've always wanted, I want you to know that you're not only helping yourself to advance your dreams, to accomplish the goals that you might have for yourself, but you're also helping others. You're helping others see that you're shining. And when they see you shining, that makes them feel like they can shine too. And that is not only incredible, it is critical. Right now, in this moment of time, it is critical that we do that. So that's what I want for all of you listening to this podcast. I want more of you participating in travel media, in the creative industry. I want more of you pitching editors. I want more of you believing that what you have to say matters, because it does. It absolutely does. I hope you join us on this journey, and I hope you continue listening to our podcast into season 6 that starts this July and beyond. We have some amazing interviews brewing for you, and I just can't wait to share them with you. And in the meantime, we're taking a little break for the month of June, but that doesn't mean that we're going to go silent. I will be sharing with you bonus episodes all throughout June, so stay tuned for that. These bonus episodes are based on the discussions and the work we do inside our membership, The Circle. The Circle is our membership for creators who want to get their travel stories published. We have weekly check-in calls, monthly idea brainstorming sessions, curated opportunities to pursue in the travel media space, pitch reviews where I give you feedback on your pitches, and much more. Enrollment in the Circle is open and it's ongoing, actually. You can join us at any time. And you can join us at 3 different levels that give you the flexibility to decide how little or how much you'd like to engage with us in the Circle. You can visit travelmedialab.com/circle to get started onwards and upwards on this journey, my friends. And don't forget about what I said just a few minutes ago. I want more of you believing that what you have to say matters, because it does. And until then, see you next time. Thank you again for listening to our show today. I hope that you had just as much fun as I did revisiting some of our favorite episodes from this season. If you enjoyed listening to this season of the Travel Media Lab podcast, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me, and it helps us get discovered by more people who love travel and who are on the creative path. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for our bonus episodes coming your way all throughout this break this June from inside our Circle membership.